The story of Noah's Ark, well, it's very ancient. You can find it in the book of Genesis, which is the first book of the Hebrew Bible. It's also in the Christian Old Testament. This tale speaks of a time long ago when humanity had become very corrupt. People were doing all sorts of bad things, and God looked down upon the earth. He saw the wickedness of human beings. Their thoughts and actions were, constantly evil. This grieved God deeply. He regretted creating humans on the earth. The world was filled with violence, and every person was turning away from good. They did not follow God's ways, and their hearts were set on evil continually. God saw that the earth was ruined. It was full of lawlessness and corruption, and this corruption was widespread among all people. The fabric of society was breaking apart. There was no justice, only wrongdoing. God decided he could not let this continue. The earth needed a cleansing. A drastic measure was required. Amidst this widespread corruption, one man was different. His name was Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. Noah walked faithfully with God. He stood out from the rest of society, trying to live a good life. He listened to God and did not participate in the evil around him. This made him special in God's eyes. God saw Noah's faithfulness and decided to bring a great flood. This flood would cover the entire earth and destroy all living creatures. Every person and every animal would perish. This was a very serious decision, a judgment on the world's evil. But God wanted to save Noah, his family, and preserve the animal species, so God revealed his plan to Noah. This was the beginning of a monumental task. God spoke directly to Noah, giving him specific instructions. He told Noah to build a very large boat called an ark. This ark was to be a place of safety, protecting Noah from the coming flood. God told Noah the exact measurements, specifying the type of wood to use. It was to be made of gopher wood, and Noah had to cover it with pitch to make it waterproof, sealing it inside and out. The instructions were very detailed. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. A cubit was an ancient unit of length, about the length of a forearm. The ark needed a roof, an opening, a window, and a door in its side. It was to have 3 decks, lower, middle, and upper. Noah listened carefully to all these commands, showing great faith in God. He obeyed without questioning. Building such a massive ark was a huge task, taking many, many years. People around Noah likely mocked him, probably thinking he was foolish, as they did not believe a flood was coming. Noah lived far from any large body of water, yet Noah did everything just as God commanded him. His obedience was complete, trusting God's word completely. God also told Noah to gather animals, bringing 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female pairs. These animals would go into the ark with him to keep them alive. Different kinds of birds, animals, and every kind of creature that moves along the ground were included. 7 pairs of some clean animals were also to be taken. Noah was also to take food, enough for his family and all the animals. When the ark was finally complete, the time came. Noah, his wife, and his 3 sons entered. His sons were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives also went into the ark. They brought all the animals as God had commanded. Pairs of every creature came to Noah and went into the ark to be kept alive. Once they were all safely inside, God himself shut the door, sealing them in, protected from the waters. The ark was ready for the deluge. Then the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and rain began to fall upon the earth. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The springs of the great deep also burst forth, with water coming from above and from below. The waters rose higher and higher, covering the land, and the ark began to float, lifted high above the ground. All the people and creatures left outside perished. The world that Noah had known was submerged, a terrifying and overwhelming event. Inside the ark, life continued. Noah and his family were safe, and the animals were also safe with them. It must have been a strange existence, tossed about by the waters, surrounded by the sounds of the storm. They had to care for all the animals, a constant, demanding job, trusting that God would see them through. The floodwaters prevailed on the earth for many months, covering the entire world, even the highest mountains. Eventually, after 150 days, God remembered Noah and all the creatures in the ark. God sent a wind to blow over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The springs of the deep and the floodgates of heaven closed, and the rain stopped falling from the sky. The water level gradually went down, and slowly, very slowly, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The long ordeal of the flood was nearing its end. After the ark rested, Noah waited patiently. He wanted to be sure the waters had gone down. He opened the window of the ark and first sent out a raven. The raven flew back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then Noah sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the ground. The dove could not find a place to land, so it returned to Noah in the ark. The waters were still covering the surface. Noah waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. This time the dove returned in the evening with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. Noah then knew that the water was much lower. He waited another 7 days and sent the dove out once more. This time, the dove did not return to him, meaning it had found a place to live. The earth was finally drying. Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked out, seeing the surface of the ground was dry. God then spoke to Noah, telling him to come out of the ark. Noah, his family, and all the animals left the ark, stepping onto the dry land. It was a new beginning for the world. Noah built an altar to the Lord, taking some of all the clean animals and clean birds, offering burnt offerings on the altar. This was an act of worship and thanksgiving. God was pleased with Noah's offering and made a promise. God promised he would never again curse the ground because of humans or destroy all living creatures by a flood. As a sign of this everlasting covenant, God set a rainbow in the clouds. The rainbow would be a reminder, reminding God and humanity of this promise. When the rainbow appears, it shows God's faithfulness. It is a symbol of hope and peace, signifying a new relationship between God and the earth. Noah's obedience had saved humanity and the animal kingdom.